Welcome back, everybody. Today we are talking about Luna. It's been a crazy 24 hours, and I'm just going to break it down really simply for you guys. We're going to talk about what happened, why it happened, and if Luna can recover from this, because it's looking pretty bad right now. So let's hop right in. First of all, you've probably seen the UST, which is the Terra stablecoin for Luna, that it lost its dollar peg for the second time in 48 hours, and the Luna market cap actually fell below its sister stablecoin. Now, looking at the two, if you look at the timing, it's pretty evident what caused this, right? So here's UST, Terra USD. This is the stablecoin which the Luna ecosystem is founded on. And if we look at the timing here of when it really started to take a hit, the tide started turning, right around between 8, 9, 10 a.m. And then by noon, it was essentially in free fall from the depeg of the dollar. Now, if we go over to Luna, which is the actual crypto token, and we track that kind of same timeline, you can look and see that right basically early morning of that same day, we saw a insane sell-off here. This is 40%, give or take, 45%, almost 50%. In just a few hours, we saw that sell-off. Luna hadn't done that previously, at least for the last, maybe it did that, in the last couple years, once or twice. We had it happen here, but this is kind of just a healthy pullback that happened with all of crypto. And obviously this is just complete destabilization. But my point is that it was not a natural decline, right? So what caused this was actually once this depegging started looking like it wasn't going to get back to $1 even. This is when Luna kind of started pulling out all the stops. The Luna Foundation Guard, which houses a lot of the treasury for the ecosystem, they've pledged $1.5 billion from the treasury to help the $1 peg return to UST, and $75 million worth of Bitcoin has been budgeted for the OTC trading firms. And Binance suspended withdrawals of Luna and UST until trading volume reduces. So you have the actual collapse of Luna, the token, which leads to the peg collapse. When Luna tries to then recoup that to the $1 peg, they sell off a ton of Bitcoin, which caused Bitcoin to further collapse. And obviously not a great look for Luna right now. So they had to sell that Bitcoin to try to get back to the peg. It's still, unclear whether they're going to be able to reach that, based on this price right now, not looking so likely. And out of that, with that 1.5 billion they've pledged, that's almost entirely what they have in the treasury as it goes with Bitcoin, right? So they only have 1.8 billion, relatively speaking. That's a large percentage to take 1.4 out of 1.8 and pledge that towards just pegging and repegging to the dollar. And then the issue becomes, do you repair that kind of mistrust that you've created with the community over, the lack of stabilization to the dollar? So there's been a lot of rumors going around, mainly this kind of the fact that UST became so tied to Bitcoin obviously became somewhat of an issue when Bitcoin started to crash and the depeg got involved. And then Kwon and the Luna team had to sell Bitcoin at a loss just to try to get back up to that peg. So they've pledged additional money. We're going to see what happens. But this rumor has been flying around a little bit. Now, Citadel is the investment firm that got caught up in all that Robinhood stuff. They've done other shady things. And there's this rumor going around that Citadel kind of triggered this to happen. So essentially the hypothesis is that Citadel borrows 100,000 Bitcoin, trades 25,000 Bitcoin for UST, which is Terra, the stablecoin, and then they open up a short on UST. They start dumping the $75,000 Bitcoin aggressively, knowing that once Bitcoin reached 30K, they would have to start dumping UST to make it lose its peg. And Kwon was forced to sell that 25K Bitcoin at a major loss to recover the peg, further dumping the price of Bitcoin. And the idea is, while this is all going on, Citadel saw this coming, issued a short, got a short out, and while this whole time it's flying down, they're making money. So that's kind of that's a little bit more conspiratorial, but there is, some, semblance of truth there, right? But just interesting to see people's takes on this and what's going on. We can also see, and this is something that I wanted to point out just because of where a lot of the money was in the Terra ecosystem, and that is Anchor. So if we look at the total value locked for, and now this is UST, right? So just the Luna ecosystem, we were up at 25 billion just a few days ago. So we've lost more than half of that. We're down at around 10 billion now. And this Anchor dominance is something that I want to point out. So Anchor, which you've probably heard of, Anchor Protocol. This is one of the most popular uses for UST. So people will come into this dashboard and actually submit their UST to earn a passive yield. This has consistently been around 20%. I saw this drop from 19 to 18 just yesterday when all this stuff was going down. But again, it's really important to look at this Anchor dominance, in my opinion, because this is falling quite dramatically, which means that more and more people are pulling out of Anchor. And obviously that's pretty apparent by this, but it also means that people are losing trust in Anchor. The Anchor was one of the most trusted, stable APY yield earning interest stable coins. And now, people are really questioning whether or not this is going to be a stable long-term system. Now, Kwon has responded. If you're following him on Twitter, he has responded saying, they're going to announce a recovery plan. This was earlier today. And then he followed up with that about 6 hours ago, saying he's just razor focused. Sorry for no updates yet. So I would say tonight or tomorrow morning, we could expect a update from the Luna founder, Kwon himself. Hopefully that'll give us a little bit more insight into the back end of what's going on and what their actual plans are. And here we can actually see Kwon is trending right now on Twitter. Pretty cool timing there. But I think everyone's just kind of waiting to see, what his plan is here, because there's the issue of, tying Bitcoin to UST. There's the issue of repegging UST. It's going to take billions of dollars to do that. They don't quite have that money, I don't think. And you have the issue of trying to repair this brand image that Luna had, which used to be amazing within the crypto space. And now, a lot of people are losing confidence in their ability to keep a stable coin. Now, the other thing I just wanted to mention is that Luna was not alone. In the last 24 hours, we've had some crazy liquidations, a total of $1.1 billion in liquidations. So a lot of people out of a lot of money, 287,000 people were liquidated in the last 24 hours. That's quite a few people, quite a few traders. And you can look at it across, right? I mean, obviously Bitcoin's going to be up there, Bitcoin and Ethereum. But look at how much more. I mean, Luna's 5 times that of the next altcoin, which is Solana. We can see there was a lot of hype running up for ApeCoin. A lot of people thinking that was going to turn around and maybe bounce and recover. A lot of people got liquidated there. But just, the overall sentiment where crypto is right now, it's been a tough couple of days. A lot of people losing a lot of money. This is where we talk about that long-term vision of your investment portfolio, right? You don't want to be hell-bent on just a couple of days where you're losing money. Over time, if you look at 3-5 years down the line, you're going to be doing just fine. So going over now quickly to the chart, because obviously it is not a complete video without just a tiny bit of chart analysis. Honestly, you can't really do too much analysis on this chart because of how bad the fundamentals have become. It's really going to be a Kwon save the day type of moment. They're going to have some sort of crazy plan with crazy money backing it to save this project. In my opinion, I don't think it will be recoverable. It's possible, but this is just ultimate capitulation, and the whole ecosystem essentially fell apart. But right now, as we just continue to drop, we saw some semblance of a support here at, $30, maybe for like an hour at the most. And then we just drop right through that, maybe a few hours ago. And the issue here now is that we have actually zero support baked into the chart until we get right down here. And at this point, I think everyone's just going to stop looking at the chart. That's about 680, 660. That's our next support. So I don't see us stopping this downtrend. I see us going right down, into maybe that $6 to $10 window, and maybe there's some sort of bounce there. Maybe some people with this recovery plan of Do Kwon, they turn around, they believe in him, and who knows, maybe they start getting some buys in there. But right now, no one wants to touch this. No institutions, no retail traders, and it's just free falling out of the sky. I mean, there's really no other way to talk about it. And the other thing I'd note, I have never seen an RSI this low. This is way under oversold, and that tells me that essentially the chart is broken right now, right? I mean, there's no 9 times out of 10 it's going to bounce, especially on the overbought oversold side. 98% of the time it's you're between these windows, right? And that's kind of how you're mapping the RSI, between 70 and 30. But to see it, drop out like that, that just shows me, another leading indicator, as if we needed another one, but that this is just structurally just not, and fundamentally just not the same chart that it was, back here and back here. And I've seen a lot of people comparing, let's say, and we talked about it earlier in the video, comparing this drop of, 57% with this drop that we just had in the last couple of days, which is 80%. So 15%, give or take, not a big margin in crypto. So people are starting to compare that. I don't think it's a viable comparison. I mean, you're talking about a healthy correction here when Bitcoin was struggling versus the entire ecosystem falling apart, happening in tandem with a major Bitcoin sell-off that actually in turn had another negative effect on Luna, since they had to sell all that Bitcoin at a loss. But that's my 2 cents, guys. Hopefully that gave you a quick rundown on what's going on. I personally don't think we'll see Luna surviving past this year. It's going to take a lot of money and a lot of brand rebuilding and a crazy smart restructuring plan to get this back up where it was. But let me know if you want me to cover another project specifically. And thank you so much for watching the video. We'll see you in the next one.